So this next drill is one I like to do to help hitters learn what it feels like to take a ball and push it into a block and wipe it out of bounds. This is a great play for those trap sets. Instead of taking a hard rip at the ball and getting stuff blocked, which is never fun for anybody, I like to show them how to have this in their tool belt, so to speak, where they can get to that ball and simply push into the block. As soon as Claire feels contact into Emily's block, she actually takes the ball and wipes it to the outside of the court. It's important to go that way because that way it's a tool and you get the point versus wiping it inside and then it goes on your own side of the court. Another thing I've seen hitters do, which is great also, is just to lightly push it into the block, almost right back to themselves so that they can play it. But if I had a choice between those two, I'm gonna wipe it off because then there's no chance that that hitter decides to clamp down or the blocker clamps like that and your nice little thing turns into like a swap block and you're like, okay, that didn't work quite like I wanted it to. So yeah. What's important about this drill for me starting out is I never would have a hitter take a full approach from outside to practice this because I just think there's too much risk during practice of ankle sprains when, coming under the net on a tight set. So I just have them do just their close step. So you get more repetition on pushing into the block with less risk and less energy expended on the approach. Here we go, ball. Good, point for Claire. There you go, ball. Good. Good, that was a hard one. Inside, ball. Nice. All right. So this is one of those situations where there's a joust drill, which is about jousting, and there's this drill, which takes a little bit of discipline from the blocker too, of what's happening. So it's hard to not want to start making it a joust, but the idea is to go up and give a nice strong set of hands where you would normally block to give the hitter practice on tooling. So you guys are both doing a really good job. Here we go. A couple more. You would start out a little bit more coming from the inside. Ball. Good. Nice. So that's still a point for Claire because she wiped it off the block and then it hit the antenna. So that's still, if it's out on her side or if it's in the antenna, as long as she pushes it off the block, it's still a point for the hitter. Good job. So we're going to do the same thing we did on the left side with Claire trying to tool Emily, but this time we're going to move it over to the right side, hitting part of the court, and Emily's going to try to work on tooling Claire. So again, the important part is for the blocker to just help their teammate by putting up a nice solid block. We're not having them approach all the way in because we're focused more on what we're doing with their upper bodies. And this is an example of, I think it's easier to tool when you're pushing across your body. But this is an example of what to do. She's right-handed and she's over here, so she needs to be able to push and wipe out that way. So it's just a little bit different move, but still a great one to have in your tool belt for when you get a really tight trap set. Good, perfect. That was her point because it went off her hands and into the antenna, so that's a point for the hitting team. Ball. Good, smart play. Even if that ball were to have come in the court, the way she pushed it off would have allowed her to have a chance to still play it and get another swing. Nice, perfect, you guys. It's inside. Good, so that was a little riskier, but because it was so far inside, but because Emily gave such an aggressive push on the ball, it still went out of bounds. It helps that she's a setter too, because setters just know, especially in a jousting situation, do setters not almost always win, I feel like, because they're strong with their upper body and they push. They know how to push last, right? There we go. Good, so she went for a high push off the block that time. Still got a touch, point for Emily. Good job. So in that situation, Emily's team should recognize, okay, that's not only tight, but it's inside, we better cover, because the most she can do is just try to get it off and back on her side. Ball. Really nice, you guys, perfect.